Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the beginner trading session, July 6th. We're continuing down the structure avenue. Hey, Adejana, you're here?
Yeah, I'm here, yes.
Can you share your screen and
Uh,
your
okay, one second. Just give me a second. Uh, I have not. One second, one second, one second, one second. Da. Okay, there. Screen, entire screen. Okay. Can you see anything? Oops,
yeah,
that's a
chat
lot.
G,
Let's
chat
see here.
GTP, chat GTP.
Lots of privacy here. Okay, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get rid of that volume button that volume bar at the bottom. So you see where it says volume up here?
Where?
You see up here where I just marked on your screen?
Uh-huh.
Okay, there's a now you see where the trash can is?
Yes.
Hit that trash can. Yeah,
Okay.
okay, that's cool. All right. That'll give us more viewing space. Um, and now if you can, hit this button right here.
Here.
There you go. Okay. So now um talk me through what you have listed here. And my question to you
Yeah.
was if you have a swing high here
Yes.
and this was your swing low.
Let her talk through it first. Let her talk through it first. Let her talk
Okay.
through it first. Don't give it to her. Don't
Yeah,
give it to
yeah. So
her.
talk me through what you have here, what you're seeing.
Do you have to put me on a spotlight?
I'm sorry, Jana. Sorry,
Listen, but
Jana.
yes, it's important that you're being put on the spotlight because you're going to understand this, and other people will too. But everybody is going to have their turn in the spotlight. This is not to belittle anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
I would never do that. Um, what I want to do is I want to pick your understanding, your brain, your understanding of this. So um, whatever
Yeah.
you do, hopefully you're not feeling embarrassed or shy or whatever. Uh, you
No,
know,
no, no. It's just I'm trying to understand because with my what I figured out is that I was confusing the swing highs and then just normal higher high and lower lows. That was the first thing.
well,
Uh,
that's fine, but somebody else is going to somebody else thinks exactly like you do. That
yeah,
that's
I know.
that's the
Yeah.
point here. So I want you to talk me through your thought process. That's all. And we'll make corrections as needed, but I want you to talk me through your thought process, and I can help get
Okay.
you on the right path.
Yeah, well, I've started from where I started marking, so everything prior to that, I didn't see until we moved that thing. Anyway, so I saw basically here that is like for me was a swing low and then this was a swing high from where I started.
Okay.
And then this one broke the structure, broke the previous swing low
Okay.
for me here. So I put that break of structure here. And it also kind of changed that trend going now up for me. Um, but then, yeah, where I got a bit confused is that then this part here, because I kind of started to see it as like another swing high, swing lows, but nothing of that broke anything. So the previous high or the previous low, the major one, that's why I didn't mark any break of structure or anything like here. And for me, it looked like a consolidation, like all this part. But I asked ChatGPT when I messed up, and it kind of said that this is
That's
not the
hilarious.
swings high and swings low, but it's
Hey,
just the normal higher highs and whatever higher lows. because it didn't break anything like, and also for this part I got a bit confused. I started thinking as kind of internal, like swing highs and swing lows. Like I think I'm just confusing that part, like because you
Well,
guys are switching from day to 4 hours or whatever, and that you are marking like then internal whatever, like those
well, I think you did a great job. And this market structure shift, that's internal. It is
okay.
a market structure shift,
Hmm.
Yeah,
but it's internal, right?
internal. Okay.
I think I
Oh,
don't have a problem with anything on this side
yeah.
that you marked up. It's this stuff
Right. Yeah.
that is confusing. Now,
Yeah.
you said something that was very interesting. You
Yeah.
said I got confused,
Yeah.
and the truth is that's why this chart does this. So you
Mm.
will get confused, right?
Yeah.
And you're not the only one that is confused. Um, this type of action in price confuses many traders, right? Many traders get confused.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you have all the information marked up. You have a swing high here,
Yeah.
you have a swing low here. That is absolutely 100% true. You do have an internal market structure shift, which would have allowed you, if you were trading, to
Yeah.
wait for this pullback, right? And
Yeah.
remember, we buy low and we sell high. So
Yeah.
if you're doing anything on the low end of this chart, you're buying. So this would have allowed you to take a buy at
Yeah.
this pullback, right? Because you got a market structure shift, but you can only take that buy
Yeah.
up to this level. This is the level that you would have been able to take that buy to. So maybe you would have hit your TP here, or maybe you're still in the buy trade, and you're at least up. You're still winning this buy trade.
Yeah.
Now, in, as a suggestion, uh, I would have marked up more than just this tail end of the chart. And you told me you didn't see it because you had all that other stuff on your chart. But if you
Yeah.
mark up more than just this little piece, uh,
Yeah.
then you have more information to go off of. Like you do have a swing low here, but where's the swing high?
Yeah.
So obviously there is more information on this side of the chart. But if you're just using this clip of the chart, then your swing structure. Let me erase this. I don't want to confuse people. If you're just using this little cutout,
Yeah.
that's your swing structure, and that's correct. That is an internal market structure shift where you can take a trade to the top of your swing structure.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was your understanding of what you were marking up, but that is the truth and the crux, of the matter. The rest of
Yeah.
this stuff is consolidation.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and internal, you might have some swings, but this this would be an internal swing high, but these right here are just
Normal highs and
yeah, actually this is not an internal swing high either because
yeah.
it didn't break anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I would just mark these as highs, right? Like
And I was
Yeah.
gonna say that I wouldn't even mark those because the last internal swing between the full swing that Todd marked up, right?
Yeah.
You went here, you went here, you went here, you went here, and then you went here. So
Yeah.
this would be the internal swing low.
yeah,
That would be the internal swing high. So all
and
this
you
other
just in
stuff,
between.
yeah, all this other stuff is in between. You either
Yeah.
want to buy from here or you're going to sell from here.
Okay.
And most people, well, I don't know. I'm not gonna say most people. That's a lot of pips, right? How many pips is that in between those highs and lows? That's about
Probably a lot.
500 pips. That's we're down at 142. Okay, that's a lot of pips. So I'm not gonna say most people wouldn't trade that. So um,
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, I would definitely
Would.
trade it because it's over 100 pips. Um,
And I'm
Yeah.
not, no, I'm gonna say I would too, based off of this daily,
yeah,
because this would have been the last swing structure. So I would have needed price to close below here. But my mantra is buy until you can't buy anymore, sell until you can't sell anymore. So I
definitely.
definitely would have been looking for
Buy.
the buy up
Okay.
from this zone here, from that structure.
Okay.
Now, did you see? Did you see that when you marked this chart up? Probably not, but you have your market structure shift, which
Yeah.
is great. So at this point, when you got a market structure shift,
Yeah.
that's you recognizing that we're switching from a sell to buy structure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And to me, that's very important. If you can
Yeah.
see that already, you're
Yeah.
headed down the right track. You might not have saw, hey, I could have got in right here when
Mhm.
it pulled back. But if
Yeah.
you can recognize a market structure shift in your swing structure, you're ahead of the curve.
Okay.
And this is very important for everybody in the group. Um, the section that she has marked up, she's identified that as her swing structure, which is great. And then she has that market structure shift, which would present the first trade opportunity. Once you get that market structure shift, you're waiting for the pullback and it's off to the races, right? So there's a number of different ways that you can trade it. We haven't talked about trade setups and entry requirements or anything else, but this is what you need uh, for a trade setup. And I'm glad that you marked it up. Uh, I just wanted to make sure you cleaned up this piece
Yeah. Yeah.
so you
It's
wouldn't
kind of,
get confused. Does
yeah, it's
everybody
clear now to me now. So yeah.
okay? Does everybody understand um, what we just talked about? Who's confused?
Speak now.
Bray, come on, y'all.
Hello, good day.
What's up, Wisdom?
Greetings, sir. Yes, sir. I'm the one, sir. I get the point, but for me, I did not really observe that market structure shift at that point where she she's seen her own. I did not really observe in my own chart. I found market structure shift above, up that break of structure. Can I share my chart so you can see what I did?
Yes,
So
please.
Can I stop sharing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Done.
Okay, I'm coming. Yeah. Oh, can you see my chart, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I didn't observe this market structure shift here where she did. I didn't get her this one here. As you agreed with her, this is my breakout structure, swing high, swing low. This is for me, this is where I got my
Where's your
market
swing
structure
high and
shift
swing
because
low?
this is what I saw. Let me mark
Hey,
it.
hey, wisdom. Where's
Look
your
at
swing
there.
high?
Yes, sir.
Where's your swing
Yes,
high?
sir.
yeah, he marking it up now
Okay, I can't mark on his screen either.
because
Yeah.
He's on the phone or
yeah,
something.
My swing high, swing high. Oh, the Chromebook. I'm using a Chromebook. I'm using a Chromebook. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah, he's on
Chromebook.
a Chromebook.
Let me go
Mm-hmm.
use the blue color so you can see. Can you see how I see my own structure? My swing
Okay,
high,
So
so your break,
swing
your
low,
swing high.
swing high, swing.
Okay, swing high.
This
You got to
one.
swing low. You got another swing high. Then you got at the bottom. I guess would
so
be
he didn't mark up the internals. He
right.
marked up the externals.
So yeah, so he got a market structure shift based off of what he marked as a swing high right there,
Mm-hmm.
which would have been cool. Now it comes back to his low. Uh, and he took a trade entry at the swing low, which is cool. But listen, wisdom,
I got
I I
wisdom.
want to say
yes,
that
sir.
both markups are perfectly fine.
Yeah, I
Yes,
like the
sir. I can
markup,
hear you.
but my question is on your tool right there where you took that trade. You did that's not your stop loss. That's not
Mm,
your real stop loss, is it?
it is. I took this trade on the 4 hours. Should I explain how I entered? Why I took the trade?
Well, I know why you
Um,
took the trade. You took the trade because it was
Oh,
at your low, but you didn't protect the swing low. Did you win that trade?
okay.
well,
No,
we
no, it was
should be
on the
talking
day.
about
Well,
entries
yeah, I
at
get it.
the
I
end.
know, but I just since he have it here, obviously he's a little bit more advanced. I just wanted, like to me, you have a perfect markup, and then you take a trade with a short entry. That's like shooting your that's suicide. Hey, wisdom. We'll
Okay.
talk about this. Me and you, we'll get on later and talk about
Talk
that.
about the entries. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
But
Okay,
the
sir.
markup, listen,
So,
the markup
okay,
is
sir.
fine. And
Mm,
remember last week, whenever me and Kim was talking about how we see structure a little bit differently.
mm,
This is another example. Your markup is fine. Like where you have your market structure shift is fine. If I can mark on your
mm,
screen, I can explain why you guys have it a little bit differently. But as long as you had your structure marked up and you
Mhm.
have your swing high and swing low marked, you can take trades just fine, and you did. In my opinion, your trade setup is perfect. And
And
you,
just so I can piggyback on top, where you have your internal breakup structure,
mhm,
your swing low should be the lowest point or before the break. So that's your lowest point. So what Todd is saying is that's the protected low that should be covered when you're entering a trade. Whenever you
yeah,
decide to enter a trade. That's
this
the
one.
whole point of these. Yeah, because where you have your long position, you're not protecting your swing low. And that's the whole point of going through these
Okay.
exercises for you to understand your swing lows and swing highs. Because at some point, when we get into entries, you have to, when you're setting a stop loss, you have to protect your swing lows.
Mhm,
Or your swing lows are the areas where you want to put your stop loss to avoid from getting stopped out. So
okay.
that's the point of these drills. Um,
Okay.
and understanding, where your swing lows and swing highs are.
Okay.
Because if you don't base your entry off of structure, then
Mm,
that's when you'll get um that's when you'll
cut off.
start losing a lot of trades.
Okay. Okay,
So
man.
yeah. So that and like Todd said, at some we will get into entries in this group.
Mm,
But just for the sake of what you have right there, that long position, your stop loss should cover your swing low.
yeah, wisdom. I know somebody might have told you
yes.
you was a sniper, but don't let that sniper stuff cost you money.
Okay, sir.
You can still be a sniper, but you still got to protect your swing low.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
you gotta protect your swing low. Hmm.
Okay. Okay, I see why.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't um because I can't mark up your chart, but if you where you have that internal breaker structure, there was another level of structure that actually broke that structure, right? Down a little bit, down a little bit. Wait a minute, where'd you go? No, not that far. The there was internal structure of that internal structure. Can you identify that?
Where
The internal structure within the internal structure.
around this zone
No,
area?
there's internal structure. There's another level of structure before it gave you the internal break of structure.
He can't see it, Kim.
Okay.
So
And I
I
can't
can
because I
see.
can't mark
yeah,
up
we
your
can't
chart
mark it. Yeah,
because I
it
can't mark up your chart.
don't
There
even
I
matter.
can't I can't explain it.
You
And
can do it on
but
your screen.
what
Just
I would
share your
say,
screen.
wisdom, is
Sure.
if I were you, wisdom,
Okay, sir.
because you have an understanding of structure, I think your markup is fine, right? It's your you just have to understand you got to protect your swing low. You have it marked up, you didn't protect it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Mm.
Yes, sir. I
Your
get your
your
point.
your markup is fine. You can win a bunch of trades like this. So
Mm.
you identify structure just fine.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say is if you're worried about the trades that you're taking, you have to take your trades according to the structure that you identify. So if you're going to take that trade, you have to protect the swing low. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
All right, I appreciate it, wisdom. Are you good?
Yes, sir. I'm good. I'm good. I get the key point. You said you have to take your trade based on the structure you
Yes,
identified.
Mm-hmm.
Because
absolutely,
price is fractal. Price is
absolutely.
fractal. This thing is fractal. When you find the structure, take your trade off the structure you've seen.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
100%.
Yeah. Uh, that's good. Can I stop sharing? You can continue.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Who's next?
Who's next?
I would like to share my chart because I got a little bit confused.
All
Yes.
righty.
So it would be nice if I can gather your feedback. Just one moment, please. Can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I tried to mark up this chart, the British pounds against the Japanese yen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What I first identified was this break of structure
Mm-hmm.
and or a market structure shift. And then I saw here the first swing high and here the second swing low. And then I saw here a swing high indeed as a market structure shift. And then I saw here the swing low. And then here another swing high. And then here a swing low. But here I got a little bit confused.
Okay,
And
let's
So
stop right
so
there. Let's stop right
mm-hmm.
there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, so if this is your swing structure, which I would really prefer more information, but hey, if we're just going to work with this piece of structure, I'm cool. I'm cool with this being your swing structure. And I'm cool with you saying that this is your breakup structure.
yeah,
Now, when you get a swing, right? And the market starts pulling back, there's going to be an internal market structure shift. And you're saying that this is your internal market structure shift, which is cool. I don't mind that either. This is
yeah,
a pullback, This is not a swing low. This is a pullback from your internal structure. This is just a higher low than your swing,
Mhm.
right?
Until.
Until you get a break.
Is
Mm.
that not the same thing as what I had?
Well, it's very, yeah, it's very
Killer.
like this
Yeah.
is
It is. Go ahead, Ty.
this is very similar to your chart, Adijana. In fact, it's another Japanese yen chart. She just has GJ instead of UJ. You have UJ. Now,
Okay.
if you recognize this as a market structure shift, when you get this pullback, you could have looked for the pullback to enter a trade to take it again to these highs. And I know we're not taking trades, we're just talking about structure.
Todd, I do want to ask a question before you move forward.
I'm
Can
sorry, go
you
ahead.
move your markup? So why did you pick that as your market structure shift?
I guess I should have asked that too. I think I know why, but I gotta ask it.
No, because I saw here a break of structure,
A
A
break.
break of structure where?
different direction here.
She's saying this high right here.
That high there? So there was no real pullback right there. So that's why I'm trying. Yeah. So
Well,
that's why I'm asking you
and I don't. I understand what you're saying, Kim, and I don't have a problem with her wherever she chooses to say that she has a break. I think they both qualify. If you have it's the understanding. For me, did you use a line chart or did you just use this right here?
I use this one, but I also checked the line chart as well.
So you did use a line chart.
Kinda, yeah, but I did a
Well,
markup. I did on the
listen,
candle.
this it's important because this requires consistency every time. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna use the line chart, then you're gonna have to do it every time. And to me, the line chart is probably going to give you that right there as your market structure shift, which is why I don't have a problem with you doing that. But if you can't identify that via eyesight, um, then you can't say this is a market structure shift. That
Okay,
makes sense?
that does make sense, yeah.
So when you're on this line chart, I don't even see that dip
Yeah.
as being
I don't.
marked up unless you did it on the lower time frame. Did you do it on the lower time frame?
No, I did it on the 1 day and on the
So go
12
back.
hour.
Oh, this is
Should have
12
been a
hours. Go,
bit.
go to
It
one
should have
day.
been a daily.
Go to one day.
It's still not. It's not going to be
It
a
doesn't
shift.
show you. Okay.
No.
So really you should have used this as your market structure shift uh,
Okay,
on the daily. And then this would be your pullback from your market structure shift.
yeah.
But if you're going to use, guys, this is very important. And I can't stress this enough. If you're going to use a line chart, um, there's nothing wrong with using the line chart, but you need to use it all the time. And if not, don't use it because I can guarantee you that it's going to confuse you if you only use it sometimes. I can guarantee you're going to get confused. Uh, and when you switch to the line chart, you can see how your other marks don't match. You see what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
see how you have a market structure shift up here and your swing low is way below this right here.
Yes, I can see that.
So that's why, in my opinion, it's important for you to use either or. And I would make my markings on the line chart if I'm using the line chart, or I would just mark using the candles, either or, because you're going to get confused.
Yeah.
And that's the different trading styles like that I've mentioned. Todd uses the line chart. I use the wick. Todd marks up the body, the open and close of the body, and I mark up the wicks. So and like Todd said, you have to decide which one you're going to use. You can't go back and forth because it will confuse you.
So you have your market structure shift now, your new market structure shift. So this is not a swing low. Now that you have this market structure shift,
Wait a minute. It is a swing low now that she has the shift, officially has the shift.
well, and it's an internal. It would be an internal. It's not a swing low based on
Oh,
business.
you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. That's right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
So you have your market structure shift.
Yeah.
If y'all are labeling internal, that's cool. But I want everybody to understand, once you get your swing and you get a market structure shift, it's going to give you the ability for a trade setup to take place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this move up, the market structure shift, you're waiting for a pullback to give you a trade entry for you to go long to the top of this structure.
Mm-hmm. Or at least to your last swing high.
Right.
At least to your, yeah.
To your internal swing. But my point is, and I know we're not talking about trades. I can't get ahead of myself. We're not talking about trade setups. We're just trying to identify a structure. But
Yeah.
I want y'all to understand that the reason why we're identifying this major structure is because there will be trade setups that take place that you can take advantage of using this major structure. You just need to see some internal things to happen, this market structure shift. Then you get a pullback, like Kim says, your 78.88. You need a pullback. This is probably about your 78 of this bottom right here. If you put a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom, it's probably going to be your 78. You could have took a long here, and you could have traded that back. Yeah, see, that's very close to your 78. And you could have took a long, and like Kim said, you could have traded it back to your swing high. Or you can take partials at your swing high. I'm not a partial person either, but trade it back to the structure. Because at the end of the day, this structure piece, once you get that market structure shift, it should give you a pullback to your 78.88 up here too. And I know that's kind of confusing, but that's what we're looking at. I would have been looking for a long at that point, and I would have been trying to take it back to my 78 of this move down. I would have been trying to take a buy back up to the 78. So we've identified the market structure shift, and you have a internal swing high right there. That's cool. And I guess that would be a swing low internally.
Yes. But the market didn't break this swing high.
Wait a minute. Where would be that? Yeah, I wouldn't consider that the swing low.
Well, I'm just saying, if she's using this as internal structure, when we had this market structure shift, if she's using this as internal structure,
But it can't be a swing low unless it breaks a swing high.
well, I agree. Let me see.
And then it took off.
Then you get this break. So if I were y'all, because I think this is going to confuse everybody. If I'm y'all, I'm labeling my swing high, my swing low. I'm labeling my market structure shift wherever you see that break. Now you're looking for a pullback, right? Once you get your market structure shift, you're looking for your pullback into your zone. And I don't mind if y'all call it zone or whatever. What are you telling them about zones, Kim?
I haven't talked about zones yet.
Okay. So at this point, guys, once you get your market structure shift, you're looking for your trade to pull back. And generally speaking, you should be able to fib. And I know we haven't talked about fib, but generally speaking, We're looking for the trade to pull back to give us a trade to go in the direction of the market structure shift.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for me it makes sense. I still feel that Christina has a question.
So
Christina?
go ahead, Christine. I was just gonna say, and based off, so you have this as your structure, your swing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your market structure shift. Within that, and this is what I have talked about with them, you have your internal moves, right? So based on this, like you had a internal break of structure, so you can at least sell to the back down to the last structure. I have talked to them about that, but I haven't gone in detail because we're not really talking about entries
Right,
yet.
about trades.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, so just looking at that, I talked about the external, and then we talked about the internal structure, internal moves that can be traded. So that definitely could have been a trade that could have sold down to this low.
100, what is that? 100 and something? Maybe it's close to
I
200.
don't know.
Maybe
Two,
it's
I
close to
don't know.
200. Because I just look at these numbers over here. Like if she could, that's 197, and this is down to that's 189. That's a lot more than that.
No, that's one up here is right here is about 198.
And it sold all the way down to 190. That's 800 pips.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's big time.
but
I keep
it's just the patience to wait for a shift because, price went up and bought up. Now, I wouldn't have counted this as a structure break. Maybe, maybe,
I
maybe.
definitely would have.
I know you would have. I know you
Well,
would have.
it is what it is. But I think
I know.
the problem to me, Kim, is we're talking about this on a daily, which is a
No,
huge
no,
time
no,
frame.
no. I get it, but I would prefer to see it on a daily
Well,
because
yeah,
then
I'm with you.
I prefer to see it on the daily. You have your imbalance here. I mark up tide trace from the imbalance, and this is what I've talked about. Try tide trace from the imbalance. I trade from um the I trade from the supply or demand zone. Hold on, I don't know what I'm talking.
Sorry, can you guys, because you trade differently, uh,
Yes.
so demand supply and then the imbalance, are
So
you
go
can you
ahead.
guys go sorry, can you guys go deeper into that? Maybe
We
really
we
explaining.
will. We
Okay,
will. We will at some point.
okay.
But it means nothing. None of that means anything if you don't know the structure.
Mhm.
So I don't want to get into it until and then don't draw it. Did you just draw that? Because you don't
Yes.
want to bring it all the way over here. You don't want to bring that all the way over here. It's just this was the break of structure or market structure shift. And this was where price pulled back into to start selling. That's so you don't want to confuse yourself by drawing it all the way over there. Um, because the entry was right here. But um, and as you can see where Todd drew his
Target. That's where that trade came to.
yeah. Now, see, I would personally have just taken it to the lows.
Well,
This
I'm
low
with you,
here.
but
No, 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 no. I'm trying to explain. I want
okay,
to explain to them because I did mention to them
okay,
that they have to take notes.
yeah.
They have to have one notebook or 2 pages. Ty's strategy, Kim's strategy. And so they can decide which
Which
strategy
one? Yeah.
they want to trade. So it's up to them.
And so,
And the only reason why I mark up this zone right here versus where Todd just based off of this structure. Because I know if price closes below here, that is a shift in structure. So I'm just going to take it to here. If it doesn't shift, then I'm good. If it shifts, then I know that if it shifts, which it did, right? It broke below that shifted structure, then I know I'm pulling back. I, I
hello.
I'm gonna feel my move. I'm gonna look for my 78. There is and where you drew the line, the zone, that's all good, but I want to see price come back to my 78. So um and I think the seven okay, so the 78 would be here.
But there, it hit your institutional candle on that.
It did, but on the lower time frame, there would be something in this wick that would give me um another institutional candle. Because once it's mitigated, I don't really look at it again. I don't consider it the zone to look at. So I would be looking for um either in this wick or in this wick an institutional candle.
I'm with
But
you. So,
to make it clear, that's um the move. This is my actual institutional candle right here. But I would have to narrow that down because this was the last up move before this structure break.
it's all
So
good.
that's
And
that's how I would look for it. But we're gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that, y'all. We're gonna get into that.
and Gloria, who you trade smart money concept?
Yes, I do.
So, and maybe that's why we saw it the same. Because this for me that would have been my market structure shift. The same way you had it marked up.
Yeah.
That would have been my market structure shift, and we got the pullback. This pullback, the reason why how I would have looked at this is when this market broke up here and broke structure right here, we broke this structure. That
Yeah.
imbalance that I have marked up down there, this imbalance would have been key. So I would have known that this pullback was coming back to that imbalance because
Hmm.
that's the imbalance that caused that break of structure. So you could have took this sell down to this imbalance. And like Kim said, you got a market structure shift from the top. So you could have gotten a buy back up to Kim 78. Then you could have sold back down to this imbalance again or to these lows. And you would have hit your TP on these lows right here.
And
Which
because
goes this does.
and I'm just gonna tell you because I didn't consider this the shift. I considered this um higher a shift, right?
Mhm.
I marked up this as my demand zone.
Yeah.
So I had been, and if y'all had I know some of y'all haven't been on here, and me and Andrew was going back and forth, and I had been telling him for weeks, like price is going to buy into this demand zone and then take off. And that's what it did. So that's where I was expecting the the bigger move because this was the external move. So I was expecting price to come back to here to buy to these to this high.
Yeah, because this was your low and this was your high then, right?
Yes,
And the market
absolutely.
applied for this demand zone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So either way you saw it, I mean, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
What the important thing is you can only trade what you see, right?
Yes.
So if you saw the market structure shift up here, then you have to trade it there. If you saw it here, a trade presented itself from there. So it's all about what you see, guys. I can't stress that enough. And you'll get people saying, "Hey, this trading style is better. This one is better." It's all a lie. The
Yep,
better one is the one that you understand, and it's the
exactly.
one that
Okay.
you execute. That's the best trading style.
Can I?
Ruby was a support and resistance trader, and I've seen Ruby make 200K in a day. I've never made 200K in a day.
And
It,
just to piggyback on that, I haven't 200K yet, but I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there.
there you go.
But Ty will tell you, I made 30,000. I took $100 and turned it into $30,000 trading support and resistance. Zone to zone is how I made. That's how I.
Well, I wouldn't
So
call yours support and resistance. Maybe you do.
no, it was support and resistance.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, because I marked up the zones on the daily, the
Hmm.
key what I call the key levels that were levels of support and resistance. And when it got to one zone, I looked to look at structure. You see, this is why structure is important. You have to look at the structure to see if you're going to go from one zone to the next zone.
You can
And
definitely make
that's how I did the $30,000. Huh?
you can definitely run it up. I mean,
Oh yeah.
there's no doubt. You can definitely run it up because it's not a secret. Like the market gives itself away. And
Yeah.
just the same way we looking at this chart, it's the same way you're going to do every day. You're going to mark up your chart, and maybe you don't do it every day. Maybe you do it once a week. Maybe you do it once a month.
Yeah.
It's going to give you the same thing over and over and over again.
And we're going to get into the strategies. Like I said, I've done support and resistance, and now I do supply and demand. And then Todd, what do you ask? I know
I call
what
it smart money concepts. I use
yeah, I
order
call
block.
mine smart money concept too.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I think it is too. I think it is. I think supply and demand is smart money concepts.
Oh,
So
okay.
I call it a order block. You call a supply or demand zone. It's the same information, just
Hmm.
it's talked about differently. And whatever one that resonates with you is the
Yes.
one that you need to trade with, because the easier the lingo is, the
Yeah.
easier your understanding of the information is, the more money, the propensity of more money there is to make.
Yes.
Can
If
I
you
ask
want,
something?
what's that?
Sorry. Can I ask something? Do people use different styles at the same time, or they just stick to one?
Well, they stick to one. Like, I'm not switching to supply and demand. Just I see supply and demand. I can see a supply zone, or what somebody would say a demand zone is. But
Yeah.
what I see naturally on the chart is, hey man, I see this break of structure. All I got to do is look down this row of candles to find the imbalance. That's all.
Uh-huh.
Because
Mhm.
once I find the imbalance, I know the market is coming back to it.
And let
Okay.
me tell you, if it's not that simple, and I know trading is difficult until you learn it, right? But if somebody cannot explain it to you just as simple as Todd just said it,
Mm.
then I'm just gonna say it's probably not the
And look, guys,
you probably don't want to listen to them, okay? Because
but
it's just that simple.
you
And
see how
I understand how Todd trades. I know how Todd trades, but mine is, and I can see exactly what Todd is trading. And I do know now that, especially now that I see the shift in structure, I do know that price is going to react from here. It's going to move up, and then it's going to come back and react from my zone. Like I
exactly.
know that for sure.
Exactly. And that's the same thing with this move right here. If you notice, we had an imbalance. Price came right into that imbalance. Same thing on the side. Came right into the imbalance, gave you your move. But this imbalance is still important. Then the market came right back up to that imbalance. You got a piece over here and a piece over here, and you still got the breakaway trade.
Yeah.
It's,
Mm,
it's if I can't trade Kim's trading style because I see mine. Kim is going to make her money based on the market moving to her zone. So you guys can't worry about, hey man, is Todd making money or is Kim making money? You
Right.
have to worry about, man, is my trade set up? Is my trade in my zone? Once the trade got to my zone, I needed to make sure I took this trade because it's going north.
Mm.
Kim, just because Kim didn't take it doesn't mean I'm not going to get paid. Then once the trade gets to Kim's zone, Kim's going to get in the trade and it's going north.
But this is the thing. I do want to say this. This is the thing. Because once price get into Todd's zone, and I'm trading from the 4 hour, the 1 hour. If I see a shift in structure, then I'll trade it up to my zone. So I can counter trend trade, or well, now it's bearish because it did shift in structure, right?
Mm.
Um, so I know how to counter trend trade. I just stress with Todd. I stress with him all the time, like, because I know how it felt when I started. The counter trend trade, I know, is what confused me the most.
Mm.
So I don't, I'm not going to say I don't trade it. I trade it now because I understand it now, right? But I don't really teach it because I know sometimes it can be confusing. I know that it can be confusing to a person. But because market structure shift, I'm going to say look for sales. That's what I'm gonna say. Look for sales. Now, on my account, I might be in this buy, but what I'm teaching, but what I'm teaching, I'm gonna say look for sales because I mean, and I always say once you get a break of structure or a shift market structure shift, you know that price is going to pull back. And yes, and I do understand. This is what are you on? This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This might be 20 days right here that you might not be in a trade if you don't take if you don't take the buy. But I do know that because this is a counter trend trade now, price can come to this Todd's um Todd's imbalance, my my structure. This is the 50. Well, I wouldn't have traded this because this is probably around the 50% 618, right? Me, I want it to be at the 78 or the 88. So that's when I look for trades. So you never know if price is going to pull back to the 50% 618 and then start selling some more. You don't know. So that's why I am not a proponent of counter trend trading.
And the reason why I am a proponent because I say, is it going to give you 100 pips? In this case, that'd have been like 400 pips. So I just think you have to take those pips. That's if we was talking about 50 pips, I agree with Kim. But when you talking about 300 and 400 pips, it's hard for me to ignore the trade. And I do get it. I don't want to confuse people. Um, I know counter trend trading can be confusing. But what I thought was that I had a way to teach it where it was more understandable. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand market structure, nothing is going to make sense. You're
Yeah.
going to wonder why you're losing.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I know when we're marking up our chart for the market structure, if we have a swing high and a swing low, and it doesn't break, um, those internal moves, are we just marking that as just like an internal swing high, or we just marking that as a high and a low?
I say don't even mark it.
Okay.
I agree. I say don't mark. I mean, I want to see your market structure shift, right? Because to me, it's important that you know when the market structure has shifted, right? You
Uh,
have your swing structure, in this. particular example, this was, the overall swing that was marked up. So for me, I want to see where you mark your market structure shift. Like, since she marked hers here, then I know she wants this trade to come and break the shift and then pull back to give her a trade. Um, and I know we didn't talk about giving trades, but that's why I want to know where you identify your market structure shift, because eventually, we're going to get to the point where we're talking about trade setups. And you're not going to have a trade setup on any level until you get a market structure shift.
Yep.
Does that make
So
sense?
when we mark our chart, it does just leave the internal alone, and we're just focusing on that swing high and
Well,
swing
I
low
think
and
I
market
think that
structure
that's
shift.
I think
Yes.
if
And your
you
breaks of structure.
yeah, I
Okay.
think you if you can identify your whatever your swing structure is, uh, and you can identify your market structure shift, I think we have a good starting point to where we can get you where you need to be to start finding trade setups. Um,
And the breaks of structure.
well, of
Okay.
course, the breaks and structures are always important.
Mm-hmm.
But we can get you to a point where you can start recognizing your trade setups. I think just from this conversation, some of you are already seeing, okay, I see how this is going to go, right? I can see how we can get a trade set up based off of this simple markup, right? Uh, although there are a number of different trades that happen, in this zone right here, if you think about it at the very bare minimum, as a bare minimum, once you got this push up and broke structure, at the bare minimum, you're waiting for a pullback to your 78 to take the trade. And you got that pullback right here, right? And maybe it was at the 60 or at the 75 instead of the 78. But I think everybody would have saw that trade, once that trade would have got to your level. And those are the types of trades. If you only took that one trade and you got in that trade, you made a whole bunch of pips so far. And we haven't even got back to the high that it's going to get back to. You see what I'm saying?
Correct. And I just wanted to also just show, because this was included in the internal structure that you are looking at, right? So based on this move here, like Todd just said, price pulled back to probably now I would have marked up this high here, but probably the 88, almost to the 100%. Now, based on Todd, it broke the open close of the move, so that was the shift for Todd. For me, it didn't break the high, so this definitely made sense for this to sell back down to, based on this move, to either Todd zone or my zone. And we won't talk about so yes, I just wanted to show that there was a push down, right, a pull back, and then a push down. So that's why I was asking about, I mean, there is a push and a pull back here, but I just don't see structure when it's like that. But I just don't it's not clear to me. Like, I need the structure to be clear to me.
And all of us should. Every one of us should think like that. If it's not, if you have to ask, then you don't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you see it on your chart, then you're gonna know, okay, this is what I see, and you can take that trade with confidence. Um, I want y'all to all get to a point where you're standing on business. Like, no, I see this. This is my market structure break, or this is my market structure shift. I'm waiting for a pullback to this area. Stand on it, and don't allow somebody else to talk you off of your trade, because that's what's going to make you successful. Seeing the market the same way every time. Changing to what I see is not going to make you successful. It's going to make you confused.
And let me tell you, I used to argue with Todd all the time.
Oh my
And
God.
trust me, when I
Yeah.
tell you,
Go ahead, Kev.
if someone argues with me on a call, I want you to argue with me. I
Me
want you to
too.
say no,
That's how I am.
because I want you to try to make me see what you see. Like I want you to do that because again, like Ty mentioned, somebody else is seeing it the same way you're seeing it, or somebody is not seeing it at all, and you have made them see something that's definitely possible. So yes, feel free to, argue with Todd. Okay.
Yeah, I
I'm just
enjoy it.
playing.
But
I
you know
know.
what I
I know.
think what I really think is whenever I first started trading, it was me, Alicia, and Dez, who's not no longer with us. But you have that whenever you're learning, it helps that you have people to bounce ideas off of. And what I kind of discovered back then was, man, if you want to go hang out with dudes who play basketball, you just go to the local gym. You want to lift weights with people, you go to the gym, to a weightlifting gym. There was no place for traders to hang out, and if you wanted a place, you had to pay money. We wasn't making money, so I didn't want to pay a membership fee every month to lose my money. And you just kind of find your crowd, and hence we have this Discord, right? But now you're in the Discord. Some people come in this Discord and they're quiet and they have all sorts of questions, maybe all sorts of ideas, but they never share them. They never speak. They're shy. Oh man, I don't really know. Todd knows more than me. I am not the best trader in the world. I'm not even one of the best traders. I'm not better than Kim. I'm not better than Newolf or anybody else. I have my lane that I understand very well. I don't have a problem articulating what I think. I'm not always right, but I'm in a group that I can bounce ideas off of. Many times I've gotten on a call on a Saturday and somebody has asked me to look at a pair that I didn't even necessarily know existed, or I didn't look at it. And then I'll look at their pair, I'll mark it up on my chart, because they don't want to share their screen. So I'll mark the pair up on my chart, and sometime during the week the alarm will go off. Oh wow, there's a trade for 160 pips. I'll take those 160 pips. And the person who asked the question didn't mark it up on their chart because they were shy or whatever the case may be, and they don't take the trade because I'll hit them up. Hey, did you get in this trade? Oh no, I forgot. Oh, okay, I'm in the trade. So please use the group uh, to better yourself, to better your understanding. Don't feel like you're being judged. If somebody challenges you on what you see, stand on business. Hey man, this is what I see. Or I didn't realize that. It's nothing wrong with gaining a better understanding. And there's nothing wrong with sharing what you see. Because we have 700 people or 800 people in the group, I don't know. All of them aren't active, but people are going to come back and forth into the group. They might be active for 2 or 3 months, and then they'll lose their money and they'll go back being dormant. Be one of the people who is vocal enough to gain an understanding, right? Don't sit in the shadows without an understanding and listen to us debate or pitch our ideas every weekend. We're going to the market, putting our ideas to work, making money, and you'll be sitting in the shadows, either not making money or losing money. We want you to be active and gaining an understanding for free. This is a free group. We can't stress that enough. It's free. Uh, if you get to a point where you're confident enough that you want to pitch your ideas on a weekend, man, or on the weekday after the market close, if you want to go over some trades on after the market close, you're welcome to do that. You don't have to have uh, any credentials. You just have to have the understanding of the market. So that's what I'm hoping that you guys gain. I hope you all come here and gain the understanding, gain the confidence that you want to share your understanding of the market with other people. That would be awesome, because I know, and I'm not arrogant enough to think that I can explain it in a way that everybody is going to understand. Half of y'all aren't going to understand the way I explain it. Y'all going to understand the way Kim explains it. Then half of y'all aren't going to understand either of us. Y'all might understand it the way Nuoff explains it. So the beauty of this group is that we have different ways to pitch the same information. And whichever way you can digest it, I would suggest that you go with that style of trading and that style of learning. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's
Clear.
clear.
Yes, sir, that makes sense.
All right.
Wisdom, did you have a question? I'm sorry. His hand was raised. Hand was raised.
Yes, I just have something I want to share so that you can help me break it down to a better way I can see it. Can I share my screen a little bit? Okay, thank you so much. It's on this
Hey, Wisdom.
GJ.
Wisdom, quick question.
Yeah.
Are you able to share instead of your never mind. Because you're using TradingView on your okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay, madam. Now this is a counter trade. Okay. I know that, madam, you're not really an advocate and you don't teach people to take counter trade, but at times I just try to see some setups on counter trade to act on it so that I could just keep practicing. You understand?
Yep.
But if I want to go in for the live market, I should be disciplined to be consistent in one thing. So this is a counter trade based on the 1 hour. As you can see, this is my breaker structure. This is my
You're on the daily.
This is my demand zone. I'm expecting price to come back in here. And before this area happened, market structure shift here. And on this daily, it's showing me that the market is going to buy up to this zone for it to sell back into this zone, because it has not really tapped into this. If I can zoom in, you see. I just want you see, it hasn't really. But before I took this, there was counter trade I took and I lost it here, and I went to the 4 hours because this hasn't happened yet. So I went to the 4 hours and I was just taking the internals, and this is what the 4 hours is showing me. See, this is the last. Okay, this is the break of structure here on the 4 hour, and you can see the swing high, swing low, swing high.
I can't see what you're marking.
Swing low.
Or unless, can y'all see what he's marking?
No, I don't see it.
High,
No.
swing low.
Wisdom.
And you can see,
Wisdom.
I was expecting you to come back here for
Wisdom.
Wow.
Yes, madam.
We can't see what you're marking.
Yes.
We can't
Can
see.
you see it now?
We can't see what you're
Why?
marking. What you were marking up.
Okay, I should try it again. But can you see my screen now?
Yeah, we can see
We
your
can see your screen.
but
Yeah.
you weren't marking on the part that we could see. You were marking us
Can you see?
Yeah, we can see it. We can see it.
Can you see anything now?
We can see it.
Okay, on the 4 hour. Okay. Now, this on the 4 hour, this is where the market structure shift happened, right? Because I was expecting a counter trade into my daily demand zone here for a buy to continue. So this is what I saw. Can you see where my cursor is? So
But Wisdom, what makes you think that it's going
can
to
you
hit
see?
that 1 hour zone to sell?
Can you see what I'm doing,
We can't. Oh,
madam?
yeah, I can see now.
Hello?
Yeah, Wisdom, I think you're delayed. You're delayed. Um, on
1 hour zone to sell. Yeah, I'm that's where I'm going to. Okay, you can see. Maybe the internet is kind of maybe.
Wisdom, we can't hear you.
Please give me some time. I just want people to help me with some. Maybe the internet is dull inside.
We can't.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Wisdom.
Hello? Okay. So back to what I was saying. Yeah, I'm here.
Um,
I'm here.
we can
Can you
barely
hear me?
understand. You're in and out, in and out, in and out.
Can you hear me now?
Yes and
Yeah,
no.
we can hear you.
What about now?
Yep,
Yes or
yep,
no?
yep.
Okay. So let me start from the daily again. What I was explaining. You know, on the daily, I'm expecting a counter trend, and on the daily, this is still showing me that market will come up to this zone because there's a 1 hour demand zone here. Though on this daily, there's no demand zone. I saw on the 1 hour for market to come around here to buy back into this place. So, well, before this happened, I was expecting a counter trend, which is a market structure shift from the 4 hours. And you see now, this is what I start to see, that the market shifted here on the 4 hour. Can you see? Can you hear?
Yep,
Are you with me?
Yep.
yep.
Okay. So when it shifted, this is it. The high, the low,
Okay.
the high, the low, the high, and the low.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see? So
Yep.
I marked out my demand zone on a 15 minutes here. There I mean, supply zone. There was a supply zone on the 15 minutes, which is here. Here to come here for it to sell back to this zone, which is structure shift. Can you see it, madam? Can you
Yep.
see
Mm-hmm.
here, around here, on this 4 hour?
The
Can you
market
hear
structure
me? Please,
shift.
someone say something, please.
We can.
Okay. But when I look at the daily again, I can't see all this noise. Of what market? Hello? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Wisdom.
When I go to the daily, I can't. Okay. I'm listening.
Oh,
Hello?
you're listening. You're saying when you go to the daily, you don't see all the noise. Correct.
Yeah. I don't see all the
That's the
noise,
that's the purpose of doing a top
which
down.
means that the market is still going to come back to this zone.
That's the purpose of doing a top down
Okay, sorry. So sorry.
analysis.
Continue.
Can you hear me?
Mhm. Yes, I can hear you.
That's the purpose of doing a top down analysis. You want to
Okay.
and and based on what you see, I don't know if price has tapped into that demand zone.
You sure
It
tap my
hasn't.
imbalance,
It
Kim.
hasn't. Just a little.
Oh, shush it.
Hey, Kim, it went right into my imbalance. You might not hit your demand
Well, it
zone.
hasn't. You
Shush
see,
it.
it hasn't tapped into it.
So the point,
But it has fueled the imbalance.
yes, it has filled the imbalance. And see, that's the decision you have to make. whether you want to trade from the imbalance or the demand zone. Me, I'm okay if I miss the trade from the inbound. I'm okay with it.
There you go, Kim.
I
Say
know
that one
I
more time, Kim, because
I'm
I
okay.
think
I'm
more
okay.
people need to hear this.
I'm okay with it. I don't get FOMO. I don't get fear of missing out
There
because
you go.
guess what? I already know once I see another structure break, I'm gonna get in the trade that's for
There
me.
you go.
Okay?
I think that's the most important thing here. You had a zone marked up and the trade didn't hit your zone.
Mm-hmm.
Next trade.
Mhm.
The next trade. You wait
Next
for
trade.
the next trade. Do not go chasing the trade.
Okay.
So once price gets the way that impulse move happened, and yes, it could go to the 1 hour zone and come back down to it. It's possible, right? But the
Yeah.
way that impulse, that daily impulse move, or yeah, daily impulse move happened, um, is looking like buys.
Okay.
And then
And there's a
I can't mark up the chart. There is no order block or anything up there on the daily
mhm.
that's saying price is going to come here and start selling. Possibly start selling. Let me say possibly start selling. So my point is there's a daily bullish order block that pulled into a swing level. It pulled back probably to the 78 or the 88 of that internal swing level. So price is probably going to keep buying.
I'm probably gonna make about $4,000 on this move today.
Oh my
And
gosh.
can you see why I see a
There's
market
internal,
structure shift
there's an internal swing within your bigger, higher time frame move, within your daily move. Go back to your daily. And this is my point of counter trend trading. Because you see a market structure shift, it does not mean that it's a full shift. Like it's just pulling back into a higher time frame swing that has occurred. And if where you have your breaker structure, you see where you have your breaker structure, wisdom, do
internal
you
or based on the swing.
do you
Yes,
do you,
I hear
can
you.
you
I can hear
can you
you
hear
now.
me? You see where you have your breaker
Yeah.
structure. Price pushed up, gave you a breaker structure. It pulled back. So I want you to mark up that pullback. No, 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 no. No, no, no. Your higher time frame breaker structure, where you have your big swing marked up, where you have the bullish swing marked up, and then you have that breaker structure right there, right? Right there.
Yeah.
Price, and where did price break
Here.
structure? Where did price break structure? What candle gave you the breaker structure? Which candle gave you the breaker
This
structure? The black candle.
this
The
candle here.
no, 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 no. Pushing up,
Yeah.
going up.
This one here.
Nope. The one is two candles to the left of that. To the left. To the left.
I wish you
Right?
could mark
Those
on
two,
the, we can't mark on
that
the screen.
those two can right there. That candle broke structure
Yeah, yeah,
and then pulled back down to the bottom to the low.
yeah.
So now you have that internal structure that has happened. I can't mark up the screen, so I can't.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
hard for me to explain it, and if you're not seeing it. Let me share my screen real quick, and so we can get through this.
Yeah, yeah. That
Okay.
okay, better, better. Mm.
Was it GJ or UJ? GJ.
That was GJ, I think.
GJ,
That was
yeah.
GJ. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me. And D Williams, we're gonna get to you. We're gonna get to your question. Hold on. And let me just remove these. Okay. So it was right here. So you had this as your break of structure, right? So you had price come here, you had price break structure, you had price pull back, and then you had price to break structure again, right? So technically, you had to break a structure here, and then you had a break a structure there. Actually, there was based on the daily, you had another break of structure here. Oh shoot, hold on. Hold on. You had another break of structure here. So break of structure. So you had price at this high, this swing low, price broke structure, pulled back, it broke structure, pulled back, and then it broke structure again. So that is your actual structure. So then you had, oops. So then you had this. Wait a minute, before I go on, does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Kim.
So then you had a shift, a market structure shift here, right? And so if I'm trading, I'm looking for price to pull back into here. There was no imbalance where Todd would have been looking for unless it's somewhere in this wick. So if we go down to the 4 hour, there was no imbalance, or this still would have been my zone, right? So price, but because you have this impulse move, you have this impulse move, and this was your internal shift of structure right here. Price is either going to keep going. Price is either going to, oops. Price is either going to keep going here, pull back to an imbalance, or pull back to a demand zone and keep pushing. Because you have now, because you marked up this market structure shift, this is now your structure. This is your current structure right here. This is your last structure right there. So price either has to break this low, or price is going to break this high, right? And now you have another level of structure. So if you are going to consider a sell, price has to come down here and break this low, this swing low, and then pull back to continue selling to the downside. You have to trade what you see and not what you think. Now,
Not what you hope for.
I'm gonna say I do it all the time. When I see this shift right here, you see I mark up my supply zone, and my goal is for price. My hope is that price is gonna come up here. But as soon as I see this impulse move, I have to then watch structure, because price has to come and break this slow in order for me to consider the sell. But with this impulse move, price pull back, you see it's in tie zone, right? You either want it to break above here, and now you have a demand zone that price can come back into and keep buying, right? price can pull back into that demand zone and keep buying. It can come take out these highs. It can do it whatever the market's going to do, the market is going to do. You just have to trade accordingly. Once you see this break of structure, now you have this level of structure, right? And you have this level of structure right here. Okay. So now you just have to keep buying until you can't buy anymore. And then if price comes and breaks some of that structure, then you should be looking for sells down to these lows, down to, I would be looking for price to come down here. There's a demand zone here. So you have to trade what you see at that moment. Does that make sense? Anybody confused on that? Now,
Yes.
I will say based on the daily, this is not a because I'm expecting price to close above a high. There was never a close above this high, right? And if you trade how Todd trades based on the daily candles, this was a daily sweep, but you also have to, for me, I I also trade daily sweeps. However, I have to see a shift in structure from that daily sweep. Now, if you consider this the daily structure, I don't. If you consider that the daily sweep, I mean the sweep, I personally don't because I mean on the 4 hour it did. It did. It broke structure here and then broke structure here. And that's all good. You can consider that. And it did. It played out perfectly, right? Once it swept, it pulled back into what I would consider a demand zone, or did it? Your chart was a little different. I did see it pull back into the demand zone. But and these two candles right here are just weird for me. But
Well, that's because the market gapped up, I believe.
yeah, I can't remember what happened. But
Yeah, that's from Friday
this
to
is
Sunday.
but this was my structure. Okay, this would have been my daily structure. When I'm doing my top-down analysis, I'm doing my dailies, and then I'm identifying. So for me, this is a structural break because it violated an order block. Now I want to make that clear. Whenever I see a violation of an order block, that is a break for me. Now, when I go to the 4 hour, there was really no violation of an order block. So, because right here, this was bearish, it came back up. Matter of fact, it violated this order block. I don't even want to confuse y'all with that. But marking up my daily, doing your top down analysis, you could have gotten to a trade. If you missed this trade, then you had another break of structure. Price pulled back into your into that zone and then sold. So I am always taking a trade from the zone to the low of that to the swing low. That's 129 pips. If it goes further, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Okay? Because 129 pips, I'm gonna make some money. Okay. So, and even if you just trading at $1, that's $129 you made on a trade.
You take my
129,
half, Eddie.
huh?
I'll take my half.
Okay. You ain't getting none. The $129 you built your account with. You
Yeah,
built your
now
equity.
my account is 229.
Exactly. Now your account is 229. So, d- Todd, what's the phrase you used to say about pigs getting slaughtered, or what? I can't remember the
Bears get paid, bulls get paid, and pigs get led to the slaughter.
bears get paid, bulls get paid, and pigs get led to the slaughter. Meaning, if you start getting greedy, you're gonna lose your trade. You're gonna lose your money. Okay? So don't be greedy. Take the money and wait for the next move. Well, that's what I say. I say take your money and wait for the next move.
I say the same thing.
Okay, that's what
Okay.
I said.
I have a question.
Yes.
That big red candle that pushes down there.
This one right here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are you putting a take profit down there somewhere?
You
Or
mean
are you watching it with your eyes?
you mean when this happens?
Yeah, when it so you got your zone above,
And
and then you seeing it pushing and then it
and
starts
and
pushing
this was
down.
and this was my swing low. So you're saying this was my swing low. I got entered in up here. I'm taking my profit, but if I'm on the 1 hour, if I'm on the 1 hour, because that's usually where I sit. My chart usually sits on the 1 hour. If on the 1 hour and price comes down here and then closes down here, you can take your profit. But as soon as or you can trail your stop, right? So if price closes down here, you can put your stop at this low, right?
Yeah. Um,
And then price pulls back. There was no real structure formed until price broke above here. And this looked like this would have stopped you out, right? So it would have stopped you out right here anyway.
absolutely.
Can,
That's
can
why
I,
I'm wondering how to grab that lower dip.
so wait, can
So
I show you a different way? Or
or yeah, absolutely.
so go back to the daily, please.
Go back to the day.
Because
Oh, I know what he's gonna say.
well,
To the daily.
you have everything marked up on the daily, right? So you can see your swing. Show them the swing, Kim. Yeah, that swing right there. You see that swing, sir?
So I would have had that marked, right? And hold on, let me move. Let
This
me
is
move
this is the daily, so I see the uh swing high and then the swing low. But this makes less sense than the hourly.
Well, hold on.
So
Yeah, okay.
Todd's take profit would have been instead of here at this swing low, right? Todd's take profit would have been here at this imbalance. Am I
And
saying that right, Todd?
you're saying it exactly correct.
Okay.
But let me give you an explanation of why, and what I think that the group might be missing. This is a swing, guys. This is a swing, right? Now she has this as another swing. I might not have had that as another swing, but it doesn't matter. However you see it, the market has to come back. You want to see the market come back into your demand zone, right? If you're Kim, you want to see the market come back into your demand zone.
Mm-hmm.
If you're me, you want to see the market come back to that imbalance.
Yep.
The imbalance is it right there, right above the demand zone. What I would tell every trader, is when you look at these swings, right? If I see this imbalance, you see how we have an imbalance right here? I mean, you see how this order block, y'all know what order blocks are?
Negative.
Okay, so I'll explain it later. But this red candle right here and this green candle make an order block. This
Mm-hmm.
next red candle comes down and closes from wick to wick, right? You see that wick to wick touch? So for me, this would not be a good spot to look for a trade to come down to. On this particular order block down here, the top wick is where Kim has the red line. And the bottom wick of this candle is right here. It has a gap. You see how they don't touch? That gap is always going to be the target of a pullback for me. And you see how this, when this pair got ready to pull back, it went right past the first gap down into the one that wasn't filled. You see that?
Now there are let me just say there are a few gaps in
No.
there.
Well,
There are a few move your drawings, Todd. So there are a few gaps in here, okay?
no,
There's one here.
but listen, but
No, I know. I'm gonna explain. I want to explain. I want to explain that there is a gap here, right? So what Todd is saying is before, hold on, let me delete this. There was an order block here, which is a sign, an indication that price is likely going to pull back and keep buying up, right? This is our swing high, right? So once this order block happened, an order block is usually two candles. One is bearish, one is bullish, or one is bullish and one is bearish. And the second candle is usually engulfing or closing above the previous candle. So the second candle is usually closing above the previous candle. So this was bearish and then there was a bullish. It closed above this candle, the previous candle. So that is considered an order block. Okay. So because it was a bullish order block, it is simply an indication that price is going to pull back and then keep buying, right? Does that make sense, Jay?
No.
No. What part don't you
All right.
understand?
So the part that I don't understand is when I see that candle with that green candle with the wick that's finishing above the last green candle.
You over here?
Yeah. Then I'm
Okay.
expecting it to shoot down, price to drop.
If price broke, so even if you use this candle right here, if price closed above here, that means price is bullish. So price should continue to go bullish.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. So with that being said, even with this candle right here, you're expecting price to pull back within this somewhere in this zone. The high of this candle and the high of this candle. So
Got it.
price should pull back into this zone and continue to buy. Price came and closed
Because the current structure is bullish.
because current structure is bullish.
Ah, yes.
Correct.
Thank you.
So if you're looking at like you have here, you had this pullback and then you had that push up. So you're expecting price to pull back and then continue buying. That makes sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now, so what you're looking for is the pullback and a break above this high. For me, it's a close above the high. Um, Todd uses, again, we talked about this. Todd uses the body, right? And this candle would have closed above the body. I use the wick. So before I continue on to the next daily candle, so the next daily candle did one of two things that we were expecting, right? We were expecting price to push up, pull back, and close above. So price pulled back, filled in, met the wick of this candle. However, price has not closed above yet. So now you go to the next daily candle.
So are we holding before that next day candle? Are we holding our long
So me personally, because this would have been a trade I would have taken, right? I would have marked up my demand zone, right? But I would have taken my profit at this high. So, with that being said, I would have, it was only 86 pips, but I'm okay. Look, I'm gonna make money either
good?
way. Okay. So once price, based on the daily, it swept that high. It did not close above that high. So,
It closed
and
below.
I've already taken my profit. Okay. I've
Now can I
already
take over?
and sure.
Okay.
No, because I'm gonna explain it. I'm gonna explain it Todd way. Hold on. And that's why I'm saying Todd is looking for the daily sweep, right? So because it gave a daily sweep, Todd is going to say it's going to start selling.
It's going to sell. But
Now, and I'm okay with the daily sweep. I can dig it, okay? I can dig the daily sweep. But then now I need to see it break structure. Specifically on, I'm going to say on a 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, it did break structure, right? Right here. So the markup that Wisdom had, now that I saw this break of structure, this is now my swing high. This is now my break of structure, right? And then this becomes my swing low. Okay. So I need to see the sweep, and then I need, like, this is my check, like these are my check boxes that I check off when I'm trading. I need to see the sweep, but then I need to see the shift in structure, and then I can mark up my last up candle before the down move, before this shift in structure, to then wait for the pullback to then sell it back down to um I want to see it come down to here. It didn't do that, but
but
that would be what I would look for.
I get it. But can you come out? Can you get out the weeds for a minute and go back to the
Okay.
daily?
Okay, I'm going back to the daily.
Okay, I'll let you explain it. But look, on this
Okay.
daily chart, wait, squeeze it back in.
Oh, squeeze.
Okay. What's the important thing for me is when you look at this impulse leg of price, because all that is a price impulse move up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I want to see as a trader, especially around my order blocks, is do we have any imbalance, right? Because for me as a trader, I need three things to have a good trade setup. I want to see an order block. I have that right here. I want to see a break of structure. I have that right here. And I want to see an imbalance. Did this order block or is there any imbalance when we broke this structure? If it is, I know that that's where price is coming back to fill. This leg up, I can look up here, the imbalance was filled. And Kim did a great job of explaining that imbalance. But this imbalance at the bottom that she has marked in pink was never filled. So I already know as price is pushing up, I already know it's got to come back here. This is my target whenever price starts selling. This is going to be my TP. I don't know when it's going to start selling, but whenever it does, this is my TP based on structure, based on what has happened and where the imbalance is. So once I see this liquidity sweep up here that Kim pointed out, I already know that I'm looking to get into a sell trade to take it down to this TP. Does that make sense? It is a counter trend trade, but it is based on what happened during the impulse move up. Y'all tracking?
So are those dojos, those hammers up there, is that what's telling you that it's about to move somewhere else?
Well, okay. Kim has, you see her where she has her 4-hour break of structure mark right here? You see that?
Yes.
Okay. My signal that this is going to trade is this candle right here. It did a liquidity sweep. Anytime I see a wick of a candle go above 2 other wicks, right? There is no need for prices to go above there and come back and close below them. When I see that happen, I already know that we're going in the opposite direction. If you look here,
Makes sense.
if you look here, this wick goes up and candle closes below. The market goes down. You see that?
Oh, hold on. I was focusing on the wrong side. Go ahead, do that again.
Okay. If you look over here, you have a candle. These are daily candles. Now this candle goes, it buys up and it fails to stay there. It closes right here. The market goes down after that. You see that?
No, not really.
Well, okay, I get it. This takes time. But if you're looking at the candles, the market is buying. These candles are in order like this, right? Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the high of the first candle. The next day, the market sells down a little bit, and then it buys up here. But it closes back below. So you got relative equal highs right here, right?
Yeah.
The next day, the market buys up and it closes below here. So this high right here, the wick of this candle went above these 2 wicks. You see that?
Yes.
That is a sell signal on the daily time frame. And the market sells. I'm not telling you to trade like this.
Sure.
You need experience, right? Like you need to see this stuff over and over. I can go down in time frames to find an entry to get in for this sale. As a rookie, you're not going to know, hey man, I know this is going to sell. I know where to get in to take this trade, right? I would have been able to go into this 1-day order block into the 1-hour time frame and find the imbalance that this trade was going to. But I'm not trying to tell y'all to do that. I'm just trying to explain something that I see on this daily chart that's going to give you your reason that you can take these trades back to these areas. It's all going to be the same thing, whether we're on the 4-hour, the 1-hour, or the daily or whatever. Anytime I have an order block, a break of structure, and an imbalance in that leg, I know that price is going to come back to that area and buy. I don't care what time frame is on. I don't care if it takes a week, a day, a month. That area is going to give you money.
Hmm.
And that you see, this is the 4-hour chart. We had that same setup on the daily up here. That's what I'm telling you. That's how I knew the daily chart was coming back to this area. Can you go back to the daily so I can show that the same thing happened on the daily chart?
Hmm.
On this daily chart,
Oh,
on
wait a
this
minute.
leg
Hold
of
on.
price,
Hold on. Hold on. Where was it? Okay, hold on. I'm back it up.
all right, that was the 4-hour that she marked up. But on the daily, on this leg of price, guys, I can identify an order block, right? Y'all all see this order block right here. Y'all all see this as a break of structure, right? Because this was the high, the market moved down, and then we broke this structure.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the order block, we have a break of structure. Now, in that leg of price, is there an imbalance? Yes, there's an imbalance. I know that price is going to come to this imbalance and give me my money. Now, I would trade this because I recognize this as a sell signal. I'm going to trade this down first, and then I'm going to buy it from there up. The same way I recognize this as my buy zone in the 4-hour because of those same reasons. The same reasons. I had a 4-hour order block. I had a leg of price that broke structure, and I had an imbalance. Can you go back to that 4-hour again, Kim? You there, Kim?
What'd you say, Ty?
Can you go back to that 4-hour?
The 4-hour?
Yeah, you have it marked, so it's easy to see.
Okay.
Okay, the same way down here, I have an order block. I have a leg of price that breaks structure. And I have the imbalance right here. All I'm doing is waiting for price to come down to my imbalance. I could have sold it up here. I could have sold it if I saw it selling. But if you're not good enough to see that price is selling, you could wait. For me, when price got up here, it created a low right here. We broke that low. We pulled back. You get in for the sale to your zone. And now you can take this price higher. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter what time frame. This is the 4-hour. We were just looking at the daily chart. On the daily, this is the imbalance right here. Does that make sense?
All except for the imbalance.
Well, I get it. We haven't really talked about that. We're talking about
Sure.
structure. But
Okay.
Yeah. The way I trade it is the same. The imbalance is just these wicks not touching. Every three candles,
Yes.
every 3 candles needs to have a relationship. This red candle, this green candle, and this green candle. See how if I make a line right here, this green candle touches with this red candle. If I mark the high of this green candle right here, they don't touch. So the market has to come back and fill that imbalance.
Okay.
So I don't really, I feel like we're getting into the trade talk, which is fine, but I really kind of want to stick to the structure piece because we're going to drill the structure so deep that when we do start talking about the trade piece, you're going to automatically be able to see when we're breaking structure, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're going to automatically be able to see, hey man, when we break this high, everything will become important, or whatever. So that's where I want to be. The trade piece will come, and there's a number of different ways to identify the trade. Whether you want to trade zone to zone, or whether you want to trade, imbalances and order blocks. All of that is secondary. The structure piece has to be there because it's going to determine whether or not you decide, hey, this trade setup is going to happen.
Okay, back.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yes.
Oh. Todd, can y'all hear Todd?
Well, I'm not talking, but yeah.
Oh,
Can y'all hear me?
okay.
Well, I would just I think we came a good distance today. I want to respect y'all's time, so I don't want to keep y'all on this call longer. But does anybody have any questions over what we discussed today? And Kim, I was gonna text you. I want to, you know what I would love to do is I would love to
What's
pick a
that?
pair that we can follow as a group. As a group, as
Oh,
a
sure, GJ.
Good
Sure,
idea.
GJ.
what's that?
Sure, GJ. No, I'm just playing.
Oh, well, I mean that's fine. If but that way we can all
No. Let's not do GJ because GJ is actually um a simple pair because it moves. It's not a ranging pair.
so which pair do you want to pick? I want to pick a pair that we can follow as a group.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can see real time that people understand when we have a good trade set, when we break
I
structure.
I think GU is probably a good pair for a beginner.
Okay, we can do GU.
You know, Ruby used to say that all the time.
Okay, guys, what we're gonna do, this can be homework, I guess. We can mark GU up on the daily.
Woo. I'm outside fighting bugs. Ooh. Okay.
Are y'all tracking?
Yeah, great
Yep.
idea.
Okay, based on what y'all already have been taught, what's the first thing you would do on this? Oh shoot, a moth. I mean a bumblebee. Um, what's the first thing you would do on this chart? Anybody? Feel
Mark
free.
I
Feel
love
free.
that
You need to
confidence.
identify the trend.
And okay, and then because remember, I always say, what's the first thing you have to do when you go to the chart? Identify, you want to identify the trend, but you want to identify where you are on the bigger chart,
Oh, the bigger.
on the chart
Okay.
as a whole. Because if right here is, so say GU is a bearish overall, like high, like big picture, and you're at the 78 of the big picture, this is easily, this buy could easily go left real quick, right? So the first thing you want to do is look at the bigger picture. And as you can see, this was the bigger picture. This is current structure. And you're at the 78.88. Now, although I think it's going to keep going buying, right? But you always want to know where you are on the higher time frame of structure. So, with that being said, we know that we're at this zone.
I didn't know that though.
Huh?
I
I
did
didn't know that.
I didn't know that though.
I
That's
didn't.
the first thing we go to a
No, because that's how I trade. Like you
aha.
always have to know where you are. And I know a lot of people, I know Todd, Todd, I don't know if you do that or not. But that's where people get messed up because they don't understand where they are in the bigger picture.
I do it. I go all the way to the 6 month. Like
But
I'm
see,
always
no. Hold on. Because and I want to say this, and this is where Todd and I disagree, okay? Even on the 6 month, and this is where Todd and I disagree, okay? On the 6 month, Todd is just looking at this 6 month candle and he's trading the bullish 6 month candle. Oh shoot, hold on. Hold on, y'all.
Wow, that's pretty that's pretty big right there. I mean, that what you just said. You look at a 6 month candle and you can tell the trend right by looking at it.
So Todd is trading based off of this 6-month candle. And I agree that even on the monthly, so let me say this. What Todd sees on the 6 month, I can see on the monthly. That's period. Hold on, y'all, because I'm walking away and I know I'm losing.
So we're looking at the same bullish move in two different time frames.
Exactly. You know, and what she's telling you is if you don't know where you are in the big picture, you're gonna get ran through, right? So you have to understand where you are in the big picture of things before you just start throwing trades in. The higher time frame is always going to
Thank you, ma'am.
give you
We
the
drinking beer
move.
in the
The
morning?
move is going to
We
win from the higher
we getting
time.
drunk this morning? Oh, oh.
Can you say that again?
We're not drinking beer this morning, y'all.
I'm saying that the
Sorry,
higher
y'all. I
time
didn't mean
frame
to
is
say
always
that.
that move is going to happen. So if you're trading on the lower time frame and the higher time frame is doing something different,
Yeah.
then you're going to get murdered. You're going to lose your money.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you have to understand what the higher time frame is doing before you start putting trades in on the lower time frames.
And I did say all that to say, even though Todd looked at the 6 month, right? I can still see that this is structure on the monthly, but I also see that we're in a downtrend on the monthly. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Did I explain?
No, because I'm assuming it's an uptrend because I see green candles on the right.
It is an uptrend,
But
but
the bigger swing,
on the bigger swing, this is structure. So
Yes,
price
it hasn't
has
broken
to,
it yet.
yes. So
Wow.
Can I come in a little bit?
Go ahead.
Can I? Okay, because what this is something that has been kind of a problem to me because most times when I come into the chat, I just focus on the actual trend, which is so that I could get a trade within the week or within 2 weeks. So I just monitor this actual trend, which is bullish here. But now, Madam Kim is saying that we should look at the overview of it so that we could know where the market is at. I think that's why at times you might get an A plus setup, but you still hit out because
yes,
the bigger time frame is saying something else, or you are around the reversal of the bigger time frame.
you have to look at the big picture. The big picture.
Okay. So on where you mark your swing high for this bearish trend on the big picture, is it not this previous high? I think it should be this previous because this is the swing low at your left. Can you go? Is it
This
not
is
this
my
previous?
swing
No,
low.
go back. Swing low. Yes, I know that's your swing low, but your swing high, I'm thinking it's above. Go left to the previous swing.
Right here.
No, up. Yeah, I think it's there. It should be because swing low, swing high, swing low. Is it? Am I correct?
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. So price sold down.
I'm thinking that should
What's
be your
that?
swing high. Mm-hmm. It did take out. According to you now, this
Oh, you're saying because
This
I see
scene
what you're saying.
taker, this is not a
So
swing
you're
low.
saying based
Do
off
you
your
understand what I'm
yes.
saying? Yes,
Okay.
yes,
That's okay. Yes, you can do that.
okay.
You can do that as well.
Okay, madam.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I have
But
to say.
remember, if we're on the, I'm never on the monthly, to be honest with you. I'm just looking
Mm,
at
the bigger
based
picture.
based on the daily. That was a breakup structure here. Then price pushed up and broke structure again. Okay. Because I always look at the daily. I look at the bigger picture, but I look at the daily for my structure. That
Okay,
makes
that's a question.
Mhm.
For my own understanding, if you want to understand what the market structure is overall, you were mentioning, Kim, you look at the daily chart, so that's also going to be your starting point, or is it just a preference for yourself?
If I can't see the bigger picture as a whole, like this right here is going down, but I don't know what the big picture. This could be just a pullback of a bullish structure.
Yeah.
So I need to see the full picture. So I'm just going to go up until I can see the little dinosaur. Okay.
Mm.
The little dinosaur tells me this is as far as structure has gone, price has gone. So if I'm looking at the structure, you have a push up, you have a breaker structure. You have a push up, you have a breaker structure. You have a push up, you have a breaker structure. If you're on the weekly or the monthly, this may not be a breaker structure.
I would just call that a complex pullback and put it down at the bottom.
So that would be my markup, right? Or if you want to just include that whole thing.
That's how I would do it.
So yeah.
Makes sense. And for marking up this chart, we will just use the weekly as a starting point.
So then I would go, wait a minute, what was your question again?
Yeah, because we are going to identify the market structure together on this specific chart. So a starting point will be, in this case, then the weekly.
No, I want y'all
So
to use the daily, like y'all
Daily.
been doing.
so I would be looking for, hold on a second. Let me run upstairs real quick. Hold on just a second, y'all.
Okay. Y'all are gonna do your marking on the daily. The same way you did for y'all's regular charts, you're still gonna use the daily. What she's telling you is before you start doing your daily markup, she wants you to understand by looking at the higher time frames where you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, sir.
So if you start marking up your chart and you're expecting price to just keep buying, but you're at the top of this swing structure,
You're going to get stopped out.
you're gonna get stopped out. So you got to understand that if you put a Fibonacci, and I know we ain't talked about it, but price is pretty much approaching the top of this structure. So it could start selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be on the lookout, for your market structure shift. And maybe you haven't gotten market structure shift on the daily, but maybe you get it on the 4 hour, or maybe you get it on the lower time frames. But once y'all mark it up and you start identifying your structure, you'll see it for yourself.
So this is where I would be expecting to, based on my daily, well, I marked it up on the weekly, but on the daily, when I'm looking at daily structure, this is the zone that I'm looking to approach, right? If you trade like Tide on the daily, there's an imbalance right here. Okay. There's an imbalance right in there. You can see it. So price could, and I'm just going to mark it up for,
That was really small. I can't see it.
and that's the whole purpose of analyzing the chart. But I'm going to zoom in for you
Thank you.
so you can see that there is, let me delete these. There's imbalance right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're buying and you trade like Tide, you want to buy up to this imbalance.
Because you know price is going to give you a reaction. I just showed
The
you.
price is going to give you a reaction. Now, whether it breaks structure from there is is the is the question, right? So let me go back to here. So now, based on daily structure, I'm marking my swing, oops, my break of structure, my swing low, and my swing high. And that's all I need to mark up right there. Okay. Because now I'm expecting price to pull back. That's my little demand zone somewhere up in here to then continue buying up. Okay. Uh-oh, sorry, Ty.
I missed one thing, I guess, because the zone you marked up there in pink, is it like a weekly order block you
The
uh
zone I marked up,
yeah,
then in the pink,
yes.
it's a supply zone.
On which chart? On the daily or
So I just on the daily, let me go to the weekly. Hold on. So
okay.
I look for the last down candle, last up candle before this down move.
But that's the order block, right? Or
It
it's
it can
going to
be it
that
so because it's not a let me go to the monthly. Maybe you can see it on monthly. Hold on. Because I know the explaining. So um
Do it on the 2 week.
now I would never go to the 2 week, but
I know. I'm just, but
no, I'm just telling them on the 2 week
but there
is
you go.
there's an order block.
There you go.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I can see it without having to see it. But for the sake of teaching y'all, yes, this would be the order block, right? You have a bullish candle and then a bearish candle with some imbalance, with an imbalance. So that would be the zone that I mark up. So now when I go down to my daily and I have this right here is my imbalance, these two black lines in between the two black lines, and then this pink zone is my demand zone. Supply zone, sorry, my supply zone. So now that I have this high, we had this high broken, this break of structure. This was my swing low. This is my swing high. So I want to see, so now I go down to my 4 hour, right? Now you have two demand zones. You have this one here, and then you have this one here. This one here is probably not even the 50%. So I'm not even going to pay that any attention. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't care is the I knew it would be the 38. So price could pull back to here and keep buying. It could. I don't know. I don't care. My trading strategy or plan, price has to pull back to the 78 for me. 78 or 88. That is part of my trading plan. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Oh, okay. And once we talk about entries and exits, we will go a little deeper into this. But this is the high. This was the break of structure. We know price.
How many pips is it down there to that 78?
From currently where price is.
Oh yeah, because I'm already in there.
Oh my gosh, 263. Okay, let me just explain something. Todd is a more aggressive trader than I am, okay?
Listen.
No. I just gotta tell the people. I gotta tell the people, okay?
Oh my God.
Todd is a more aggressive trader than I am. Now, I personally will have to see this broken, because this is the last swing in my book, right? This is the last swing.
But are you saying you didn't get a market structure shift on the 4 hour?
No. So
You did?
I would need to see price shift here, pull back, and then sell down to the 78.88. That's me.
But
That's
listen,
my trading.
we didn't get a market. Can you go to the 4 hour and see if we got a market?
Because it is a counter trend trade. So I don't care about it at all.
Did we get a market structure shift, Kim, on the 4 hour?
We're on the 4 hour.
Oh, so that's not we didn't break them lows.
I don't. That's not the structure to me. This is the structure.
Hey, there we have it. I feel you. For me, that pullback, that high, and then we broke. Woof.
If y'all want to hear us argue, like brothers and sisters, this is it. This will be it right here.
Hey, can you go back to the daily, Kim?
This will be it right here. This is where we.
Hey, who was I talking to a minute ago?
Jay, about it didn't sweep. See, it
About the
didn't sweep.
You said it didn't sweep?
No.
Can you pull up the 6-month candle?
Oh my goodness. 6 months. Wait a minute, hold on.
Can you mark this is still on replay or something?
Oh wait. Not
Yeah, it is. It did sweep, yeah, indeed.
See, I don't consider candles over here sweep.
Wait, no, Kim. We're on replay mode. You got to get off replay.
Oh.
I knew.
But I was going to say no, but that was on GJ. That was on GJ.
Yeah, so mark the high of the 6-month candle. Is that the high? I mean, you can see. I can't see. Okay, now go to the daily. Because we did get a sweep for me. Like that candle right there.
That's a sweep for Todd.
That candle is a sweep. And that was my sell signal.
Okay, so that's not a sweep for you, Kim, then.
It's a sweep on the daily, but I need to then turn around and see a shift in structure.
Well, look, that had to be a shift in structure for me on the 4 hour. That was me on the 4 hour.
That's not a shift in structure for me.
Come on, bruh. Those are lows.
Bruh.
Those are lows right there. So you either see what you see or you don't, guys. But for me, that's a shift in structure, which left an imbalance. The next candle trades up into the imbalance. And now I'm just waiting to cook. And if we cook down to the area that she explained, I believe I can't really see because I don't know what that line is, but that area. So how many pips is it down to this area? 200 and something, you said?
Wait a minute. Down to where?
To the area that we had marked.
Oh, you mean down here?
Is that no? I
No,
think
no, no, no,
it
no,
was
no,
up
no.
there. It
It
was
would
up
be
there.
right here.
It was
It would be right here based on the daily.
yeah. So how many pips is it down to that zone?
Mm, 134.
That's enough for me to buy me some rims, man. That's
You
enough
don't
for me to
even,
buy
do
me a
you
new
even have a
motorcycle.
car? Do you even have a car?
No, my baby got a car.
You don't put your rims on baby car? Baby
Yeah,
don't want no
baby
rims.
is in Peru. She'll be in Brazil tomorrow. She fly her and her sister fly to Brazil tonight.
She don't want no car rims on her car.
Yeah, it ain't about what she want. She called me. Man.
Oh my God.
All she
That's
got to do
her.
is drive.
It's her car. Y'all see this? Y'all see it.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
And while he will definitely, if he gets those 100 pips, I'm okay with that. I'm happy for him.
Well, that's all. I mean,
But
that's
I'm
in my
waiting for
plan.
Price. I'm waiting for Price to come here, protect us low, buy up to these highs or even further,
So if
which
it breaks
is
that low, then what?
which is 284 pips, and I'm okay with just getting those 284 pips. Just FYI. Now, why are you all the way down there?
Because if it break that low, this is what I really think is going to happen.
And if it breaks the low, if it breaks the low, look at ratio charts. If it breaks the low, this is what you now see, right? You see this. Oh, shoot. Hold on.
You
If
see,
it
you
breaks
and
the
me,
low, you
lover.
see this break of structure, and I'm going to go to the weekly or yeah, or even the monthly, right? If it breaks that low,
Mm, mm, mm,
let me
mm,
go to the daily.
mm, mm, mm.
If it breaks this low, then you're in this higher time frame structure.
And we'll probably come down to this
So,
one right here.
so this would be the monthly structure, right? Does that make sense? On the monthly, that's the structure we're in,
But have you
right?
told them to go up to the monthly?
I only tell them to go up to the monthly if they can't see the bigger picture.
Okay.
So, and remember, because we're in this structure right here, huh? If you're in this structure right here, because we broke structure to this high, you look for a pullback for the continuation, and I'm just gonna mark this high right here. Well, this demand zone right there. So I can go to the daily. So if it broke this low, I would be looking to sell it down probably to here. It could go down to here. Todd would probably look for it to go to this imbalance right here. I'm going to take my profit and see what happens after that.
I'm not as rich as Kim, so I can't take my profit. I gotta try to get mine.
So again, Todd is an aggressive trader. I am a more cautious trader because I'm the queen. Okay. Because I'm
She's a queen
oh my
too.
gosh. But currently, this is the structure. This is the current structure we're in. So I trade based off the current structure. And if it doesn't respect the structure and closes below that structure, then I trade accordingly. So that is why we are drilling structure into this group. Because let me just say this. There are some people that has been in this group for a very long time who still don't know structure. True, Todd?
It's hard to break some habits if you start with bad habits. It's hard to break.
Yes. Yes.
And we just said it's easier if we just teach the structure and worry about the trading later, because it's very difficult to try to explain structure once people are already taking trades.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right, you guys got any other questions? So we're gonna take this pair and we're going to
Although I do think it's going up here though.
huh?
I'd say I do believe it's probably gonna pull back and keep going for a minute.
We shall see. I believe it's gonna sell. It's gonna pull back up to pull back, and then it's gonna buy. But we'll see.
You're thinking it's going to shift structure and sell down some more?
I think it is going to shift structure. But we'll see. You know, the 6 month cycle has been pretty solid, at least for the dollar lately. I mean, we'll see.
So we will probably get the pullback. So we'll probably get it to buy up to here. And then pull back.
Then so I mean I can see that too.
Mm-hmm.
To the negative 27.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because that was the last swing. And y'all will understand this at some point, and I promise you, you'll understand this, what I just did with the fib.
Awesome. No question from my side. That was really amazing today. Clarified a lot.
All righty. Well, we appreciate your time.
Yerp.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate your
Sure.
time. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.